If infidelity occurred and you want to fix things, there's usually one feeling that follows you everywhere, and that's regret. Not just because you lost a relationship, but because deep down, you know that you hurt someone that you love so much. And many people, that regret becomes so overwhelming that you tend to replay those conversations, those mistakes, and it becomes suffocating because you constantly are asking yourself, did I ruin everything? Can trust ever come back? Is there any way to repair this? And if that's where you are right now, I want to slow things down and to help you process what is going on and to help you not just rebuild trust and attraction, but also to help you become a better person in the process. Hello, my name is Coach Adrian, breakup and reconciliation coach, and welcome back to the Ex Back Playbook, a series about secure, calm reconnection strategies that work. Now, I need to say something important right away. I do not condone cheating and infidelity, and it damages more than just a relationship. It damages the core essence of who people are and how we experience emotional safety and trust and how our nervous system can feel secure. And it can also damage the way that people experience love itself. However, I also don't judge. I understand that we are all on a journey of growth and bettering ourselves. And I also know that rebuilding after betrayal is possible, but it requires much more than just saying, I'm sorry. And that's what happened with a man named Eric, who came to me after a separation that had occurred. And during our initial conversations, he said something that really stuck with me. He said, I don't think that she sees me as the same person. I am now a monster. And honestly, he was right that she didn't see him as the same person. How could she? Because that betrayal changed the perception that she had of him. Not just emotionally, but even on a neurological level. She no longer felt safe emotionally around him. And this is what many people fail to understand. When someone is betrayed, their nervous system becomes hypervigilant. They question everything, words, they question intention, and of course, emotional safety itself. So the goal simply cannot be to get back together. We have to go deeper because we don't want to create any sort of sense of pressure. We want to truly rebuild trust on a more fundamental level. And sometimes that can take time. But once we do that, we are able to reconnect in a very powerful way. Rebuilding trust is slower than rebuilding attraction, but it's very, very powerful. You cannot become desperate for forgiveness because once you do, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Desperation can sound like over-explaining or providing consistent reassurance or pressuring them in conversations or pleading or begging or really trying to fast forward through the healing process because you just want to get back together. In truth, healing after betrayal should not be something that is rushed. And that's important. Remorse matters, but remorse alone does not rebuild trust. Trust is not rebuilt just through emotion. It's something that is rebuilt through consistency, through stability, through honesty. And behavioral changes happen over time, even if you've understood many things all at once since the breakup has occurred. So it's important for you to also be honest with yourself about what scares you, and is it linked to not being able to earn their trust again, for example, or is it that you feel like you've become someone else that you're unable to convey to your significant other? It is important for you to be clear about where you stand emotionally so that you can build in a coherent way from here. And again, as always in the series, I really encourage you to share your comments in the comment section below so that we can have an ongoing conversation together, so that I can also learn from you and from your lived experience. Eric, at first, wanted immediate answers. He wanted to know if he should write a letter to apologize, how he could prove that his love was sincere, and how he could explain what happened in a way that was honest, but that could also help to open the doors for reconciliation. And he had realized many things. He realized that his ex did not need more emotional intensity. She needed to feel safe. And he also realized intuitively that he needed to take things slow in order to rebuild that sense of safety. But many people become defensive at this point in the process because they feel like they've already apologized, that their feelings now don't matter as much, or they feel like they're being treated unfairly because that other person is not seeing their pain and their growth and their regret. And all that can be true, but ultimately you need to focus on what can help to strengthen healthy reconnection. And that is where your energy should focus on. So first, you need to be emotionally accountable. No excuses, no blame shifting, not trying to justify why the cheating occurred, and really take accountability. For example, you can say, I deeply understand that this hurt you. And you may have to say that more than once if you see that your significant other is still triggered and continuously brings up the facts that they're devastated. It matters to validate how they feel, and sometimes you have to do that more than once, and you have to do it in a very genuine, honest way. Second, transparency is very, very important. And transparency can mean that you are consistent and predictable and trustworthy when your significant other asks you questions, but also in the way that you present yourself moving forward. You can't just let your emotions dictate the way that you're going to engage with them again. And you're going to need to be very patient. And this is very important because oftentimes when someone feels betrayed, it hits them in waves. It's not all at once. One day they feel hopeful, one day they feel okay, and then something may trigger the significant other again, and they go through an emotional setback. And that can be frustrating for you because you're hit with this roller coaster of emotions that feels unfair to you, who's also suffering. But it comes with the territory. Sometimes doing everything that you can to repair means being patient and understand that it will happen incrementally and not all at once. It's not about controlling the outcome. It's about sincere, genuine growth, change, and a sense of emotional responsibility. Remember that this other person has a sense of free will. They need to choose you again, and we cannot pressure them to choose you. We cannot get locked into only seeing this process through the lens of them choosing you again. It needs to be focused around true qualities, new habits that emerge as a result of this crisis, so that no matter what, you turn this into a beautiful process of growth. Because healthy, strong relationships usually end up happening when true growth happens. We're not just focused on getting them back. We're focusing on becoming an emotionally safer person to love. And that transformation will bring about beautiful fruits if you trust this process of personal transformation, of course. And you'll see that over time, conversations will become more emotionally honest. Perhaps their defensiveness will decrease. Their consistency will increase. Emotional safety will start to slowly rebuild. And both people will be able to move past the past and focus on rebuilding something healthier in the present moment and moving forward. That's what happened with Eric. And I remember him telling me something along the lines that, I stopped trying to convince this person to trust me again, and I just started to become someone that is more trustworthy. And that shift changed everything. It didn't change everything all at once, but gradually, because I was no longer seeking reassurance and validation or trying to prove something. I was just trying to articulate in my day-to-day and my lived experience what that quality looks like. And over time, without pressure, I gave this person that I love, agency to come and meet me halfway. This is what you're called to do. Of course, it's not easy, and many people who are going through this need support. I've created a course on overcoming infidelity for both people, for the betrayed and for the person that also committed the act of infidelity. And it would be my pleasure to help you navigate this dynamic in a way that is compassionate, but also very truthful, and in a way that can bring about a profound transformation in your pattern of life to maximize your chances of being in a healthy relationship with the person that you love. And if you're interested in getting support, as always, feel free to book a discovery session with my team. It would truly be my pleasure to support you in this next phase of your life, in your continued process of growth. And if you're here and if you're watching this video, I know that you've already done so much work. And I encourage you to continue to turn crisis into victory by focusing on those things that you can control. When you're dealing with infidelity, oftentimes you have to deal with mixed signals. And that's exactly what we're going to be addressing in episode 8. Because sometimes mixed signals reveal much more than someone realizes. And you're not permanently defined by your worst mistakes. And I also don't want you to ride that emotional roller coaster with your significant other. I want you to be empowered by this process. And that's why I'm going to continue to help you fight the good fight through this Ex Back Playbook, and to provide you with tools to navigate the different circumstances and situations that you may face after a breakup. So let's continue to fight the good fight together, and see you in episode 8.